So the idea was basically I wanted him to be able to, on command, go to a certain place where he would pick up the ring and bring it to Christina. I needed professional help, so I emailed Lucy with Dogs Unleashed to see if it was possible, first of all, to do this in, I guess it was about, from the time I emailed, had about a month and a half, a deadline of about a month and a half to get the whole thing done. So I emailed her the entire plan, and she said it'll be tough, but yes. Lucy gave me this to work with. At first we actually had to open his mouth up and shove it in there, and then as soon as he let go, click it a treat. If he expects a treat whenever he lets go of this little leather thing, then eventually he will pick it up willingly so that he can let it go, so he'll get a treat every time. It was, that was basically our first session together with me and Lucy and Boo, getting him to actually just accept it in his mouth to begin. Yeah, so the next thing was once he was able to pick it up, we had to move it closer to the floor. Just very, very, very tiny steps. Of course, I wanted to just, as soon as he was able to keep it in his mouth, I wanted to go straight to the bedroom, but that's not how this thing works, so I would go lower. Actually, and every now and then, he would just, when we ran into an off day or something like that, then it would just be, can you just put your mouth around it? Yeah, okay, there you go. And just to see that he was able to go towards the floor, so that eventually I could leave it on the floor, he would grab it. Now, this is where it really started to get interesting, because basically, well, then we started putting a cue on it. So I'd say bring. So give him the thing, bring. He would drop it into my hand. Bring. Bring. And at first, if he just even dropped it, it was okay. So we basically had to split the commands. One would be bring, or bring it to my hand. The other was go get it, or place it on the floor and you go out and get it. Right there, wait. Wait. Go get it. And as soon as he puts his mouth around it, I would click. He would drop it, and I would give him a treat. So this is the tough part here, is that I wanted him to bring it to my hand, and he would usually just drop it. So wait, hey, go get it, bring. Well, okay, so this is now in the future, and Boo has already learned that bring means bring it to my hand, but basically this was bring. Oh, see, so he's being a good boy now. He wasn't for about 4 weeks. This is what it turned into here. Bring. Just little steps at a time. After getting it and getting his mouth around it and dropping it, was get a turnaround in. And this is where I started practicing only in the hallway, because I knew that this was going to be where it happened. And from what Lucy tells me anyway, the dogs don't generalize right away, and that wasn't important to me, because this is just a one-trick thing. This wasn't teaching him how to fetch, it wasn't teaching him how to retrieve, it was teaching him how to get an engagement ring and bring it back once. It just needed to happen once. There's a lot of pressure on him, but for the turnaround, basically I would hold it here, say bring, he would get it, and once we got that, and that took a while, that was the moment when I knew this was actually going to work out, and that all we needed to do is start increasing the distance. Okay, so then we had to transfer to the basket. And, so you go at not the ring, but the handle, and a click. Not the ring, but the handle. And then, same story with the other thing. Eventually I would travel down slowly and go to the ground. And put it farther away. So Prasanna's my roommate, and he was a stand-in for when we were practicing having somebody else there when I was training Boo. On our last training day with Lucy, I brought him in, placed the basket down. Come here, Boo. Come on, come on. Brought him back with me. Come on, Boo. And then, as you can see, if you just follow him there, I would just carry on in conversation with Lucy. And what happened is Boo just went. Right now, I'm not giving him any cue, and there he goes. Good boy. All right, come on, Boo. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Good boy, Boo. And it's happened exactly like that.
That is fantastic.
So after I said yes, I looked at John and I basically said, "You weren't nervous, right?" Because you basically knew my answer because we had kind of talked about it beforehand anyway. So his response was,
I said I was nervous about him, about Boo. I wasn't nervous about your answer. I was nervous about the dog. I mean, the whole month and a half, or however long it was geared toward that one single moment. That as many times as he got it right in training, he had to get it right this one time. I mean, he didn't have to, but it was much cooler that he did. So, and he did.
That's great.
The clicker worked. I mean, nothing else worked before. The clicker training definitely worked, and I'm going to guess and say that the reason is that initially what the big problem was when I tried to train him to fetch on my own was getting him interested in the game. He never really saw it as a game. He just saw it as, where's my next treat? He had fun with the whole thing. He understood very quickly what that click meant. And I've definitely learned that dog training is a profession like accounting or professional football or science or whatever else, and some people know how to do it and better than anybody else, and I recommend that anybody who has any thought of doing something like this or any kind of training to find somebody to help, because I did and it worked. You're good.